we're doing a test run today. This is kind of like an introductory welcome back to Twitch stream. It's been a while. How have you all been? COVID's been tough for everybody. It's been tough on me. That's why I've been gone for a while. I've also been doing other things. I'm actually having a really terrible mental health day today. And I had been kind of planning to come back to streaming, to come back to teaching on Twitch and Behance and YouTube, and I was doing other stuff, and like I was like, all right, we're gonna do this. Like, I really want to come back to streaming. I really miss teaching, and I haven't really been drawing for myself for a couple of months. I feel like, much like everyone else, the CPTSD is very real. It's just felt like too much, and I wasn't doing enough for myself, my own happiness, and I was putting a lot of time and energy into adjacent projects that weren't really serving me and weren't making me happy. So here we are. Like I said, we're just doing a test run tonight of just sort of this introductory welcome back to Twitch thing. I'm totally rambling. That's fine. So yeah, you'll notice that things do look a little bit differently from maybe some of my other videos. This is eventually going to go on YouTube. So hello, YouTube. Good to see you guys again. Sashiburi. But yeah, I feel like the last 2 years with COVID, I used to work at BuzzFeed, as you guys might know or remember. I learned a lot from there. I'm currently at a company called CoreLogic. We do fintech. So it's been a really interesting 6 months, and I'm really starting to realize I'm not spending enough time. I'm totally rambling. I already said all this, but I'm not spending enough time for myself. I'm not spending enough time drawing, investing in myself and sort of my long term. So, yeah. I guess I'm going to be ironing out sort of any sort of technical difficulties I have tonight. If there's an audio delay, for example, which I don't know if there is. So if there is, I'm so sorry. But that's part of what this stream is today. And I thought, what better way to start than to start with something that I really love. So I love Final Fantasy VII. It's one of my all-time favorite video games. And the first summon that you get in that game, the first red materia you get is Chocomog. So I thought we can kick off a series of illustrations of the different summons. My aspiration is that we do this every Wednesday. So that's something that you guys can look forward to after work every Wednesday. I'll be here, drawing, teaching, doing cool stuff. So yeah. I figure we might as well get started. So I am working on an iPad. Don't ask me for my specs right now. I'm not going to remember. It's an iPad something. I'm working off of one of the more recent versions of Procreate. I have a first generation Apple Pencil. I don't think you have to invest in expensive tools to be really successful in the creative space. So if you're thinking about getting an iPad, or if you're thinking about getting into this space, like, just start somewhere. Start with a pencil and a piece of paper. So let's start. You can see here that in this stack, I've sort of doing some sketches. And if you'll notice, I do go in order of all of my different summons. So we start off with Chocomog, then you have Shiva, Ifrit, Ramu. I think this is Titan. I think this is Odin. This is Odin's second form, which I think unlocks in disc 2 or 3. This is Kadaj. It's the pig one. Earth. No, not Earth. This is the multi the multi-element one. Kadaj, I think. No? Doesn't matter. So Kadaj. That looks like Alexander. This is Leviathan. This is Phoenix. Pretty sure this is Hades. So as you can see, I haven't gone through all of them just yet. I don't know what I'm going to do when we get to Knights of the Round. That is going to be a big pain in the booty. I'm also considering doing Sephiroth's Pale Horse summon, so that since that is considered a summon. So those are all things that we're not going to deal with today. But today we're going to start with Chocomog, and I'm working on a square canvas. I wanted to do thumbnails ahead of time. So what we're going to do is we're going to select, we're going to, we're going to select. Hello, are we working? I know my Apple Pencil's charged, so I don't know what the problem is. We are, is my tip screwed in? Like what? Okay, we're fine. Everything's fine. I'm like this close to just uninstalling everything. Copy. We're gonna bring that into a new canvas and try not to cry. And we're gonna paste it. So, Nani? What? Copy. Canvas. Maybe that's what it was. Paste. Okay. I copied it off of the wrong layer. So a couple of things before we start drawing. I really like to set up my canvas. I tend to work in a 2000 by 2000. I'm pretty sure I'm at 300 DPI. Let's double check. Canvas info. Doing it for the meta. Okay, so yeah, 2000 by 2000, 300 DPI. So here's kind of the rule of thumb with DPI. If you are printing at 100%, you have 100 pixels. It's 100 square pixels per inch at 150, 100 DPI. Meaning every 100 square pixels you have is 1 square inch. So if you're working in a really large canvas, you're going to be working at 150, 100 DPI. And if you're working on like something that like I've worked on, that's like feet, we're dealing in like 6 feet by 6 feet, 10 feet by 20 feet, you're going to be at probably around 100 DPI. And it's every 100 pixels is 1 square inch. And for big billboards, that's great. For smaller stuff, I tend to always just work in 300 DPI because I'd rather have a really high DPI count. I'm also at 2000 by 2000, so that's like 20 inches by 20 inches at 300 DPI. So that means that this can scale 3 times that. So 60 inches by 60 inches is the largest size that this canvas can go before it starts to pixelate and look like garbage. So that's just the general rule of thumb when you're working in digital, right? So 2000 by 2000, you can see the physical width is 6 by 6 inches. Those are just really cheap, dirty, like metrics that I go by. Other people will go by different. So just FYI, like I'm coming from like working on billboards and stuff like that. So you should always work at your discretion and at your canvas size. For what I do, I don't need to have pixel perfect stuff. So that's why my numbers are a bit different. So just FYI. Because of that, because my canvas is 2000 by 2000, I always do a drawing guide. There's different types of drawing guides in Procreate. The one that I use is always going to be the grid. And I'll make the thickness pretty big, but I'll bring down my opacity quite a bit. And I always set my grid size to 500. It's just how I like to work. There's really no rhyme or reason to it. If I want to make the grid a little bit smaller, sometimes I'll work at 250 by 250. And that'll give me a smaller grid. So we'll just stick with 250 by 250 because I have like a long game here. So I'm gonna explain why in a second. But usually I'm at 500 by 500 because I like the really big grid with like just less information. We're gonna go back into opacity and bring that up just a bit more. Okay, great. So this is going to be my sketch layer, and since it's a layer that has white information in it, it's not transparent, right? My sketch layer is not transparent. So one way to amend that is that you go in and you choose multiply. So now if I paint behind it, this is just kind of how styles work. Now if I paint behind it, using this pink, it'll just multiply. That layer, the white, is basically canceled out. It's not being used by, the data of that white is not being used. If I take it back to normal, it's going to have a white square. So that's sort of a top-down look at how blending modes work in like Photoshop, Illustrator, pretty much any drawing program, Clip Studio Paint. This is Procreate. That's how a lot of these work. So just FYI. This is why I do what I do. Right. So I don't do enough of this. We're gonna be disciplined. We're on camera. We're teaching people. So we're gonna label this sketch layer. I'm gonna get rid of that because we actually don't need it. And we're gonna scale it to the size that I want it to be at. So my long game is maybe having t-shirts of the designs that you see today. So the long game is that we design it on white and then we test it on black and then we design a background for it. But I really want the individual summons to be able to be a t-shirt design. So that's why I want a little bit of space and I don't want to go to the edge. I'm just keeping that in the back of my head. So yeah. The other thing that I'm considering is I do want to have a floor plane. So just so that I know that that's there, I'm going to put it here because my floor plane is probably going to be somewhere down here. I'm assuming. So all of that is done. The next step is, and this is off screen, you guys can't really see it, but I do have references of Chocomog, the video, screenshots, all that good stuff. I just have like a reference up here on my screen on my computer. You guys can't see it, so just know that I'm not working off of just memory, even though I've played this game dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of times since I was 12 years old. I'm turning 35 this year. It's 20 years of playing this goddamn game. I still am relying on references. I'm not just doing it off the top of my head. So all of that being said, some of the things that I really love about the original Final Fantasy VII designs is that because they didn't have a whole lot of a polygonal count to work with, there's very clear definitions of body shape. And there's actually two different models. There's more than two different models, but there's two primary models for this. Hi, Dag! Welcome! So there's two different types of models that the game uses. There's the one that you typically see in the summon and then kind of everywhere else. And so the summon one has a much higher polygonal count because it just looks more beautiful. So just keep that in mind in the back of your head. So I'm done talking. Let's actually fucking draw something. P.S. This is not PG friendly. So sorry. All right, so I guess the first thing I want to do is have this sort of line. I like to keep my work pretty geometric. And I like to have really nice sharp lines. And so the way that Chocomog sits on the it's a Chocomo, it's a Chocobo and a Mog riding a Chocobo. So I really want to be sure that I'm honoring sort of the design. But I also have to kind of design for myself what's going to look good. So I may not necessarily design it to look exactly the way that it does in the game. Like the exact same posing and whatnot. Because that just doesn't make any sense. Dag, remind me to email you the emotes that I already have for you. Can you text me right now so that when I log off, text me, so that when I log off, I email you your emotes. I designed emotes for this poor man like ages ago. Half of them are done, and I still haven't emailed them. I'm so sorry. I'm like, iPad, DAG, email, the emotes. Okay. Brainwaves. Okay, so we're just gonna keep designing our chocobo. They tend to have sort of these little feathers in the front, and then we're gonna have sort of this pose, because this is the pose that like you usually see. Is this like claw, one claw up, one claw behind, and then I want to have like a little shadow underneath him. All right, and then something like this. Okay, texted. Thank you. All right, I see your text. Now I'm just gonna ignore my phone until later. All right, so we've blocked out the chocobo. Clear. So you know what I really should have done is I should have just finished your emotes on live stream. Sorry. TBT. Chocomog. So he has like a little bandana, and I think because in this, oh, that's a good stream idea, right? In the summon, Chocomog and the Chocobo and the Mog are both perpendicular to the camera, but they're both looking at the same direction. So I think instead of having the pose like this, I'm going to cheat the Mog out towards the camera a little bit, because I think it's just visually going to be a much more interesting shot. And we'll try it, and if we hate it, then that's totally fine too. Okay, he's got this little bandana. We're going to make the bandana float a little bit. And then he's supposed to be holding on. And then he's got his little so again, like in the game, if you look at the reference, it's just like a bunch of like polygons slapped together to kind of give the feeling of a chocobo and of a mog. And so I lied about not looking at my phone. Sorry. I just realized you can't see that these are little strawberries back here, so we're going to make something more colorful hang out in the background. Boo. There we go. So we're kind of taking some creative liberties here. Also, his nose is a little bit smaller. Also, I just realized it's not a Mog, it's a Moogle, right? It's a Moogle. But I keep calling it Mog because of Moogie, and then also the summon, which is like the most exposure I usually have to Moogles. And I've played Final Fantasy XIV. Whatever. Like, they've got Moogles too. But I'm not into it, fam. I'm sorry. Alright, so we have kind of everything blocked out for the most part. So I would say we can combine everything. Let's take down the saturation just so it's all the same kind of level. Take down the opacity. Get rid of that. What is this? What is that layer? Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to start naming shit, because I said I was going to name things and I'm not actively doing that. Sorry, fam. So we're going to call this layer Moogle Body. Moonless? Moogle. See, even my iPad does not recognize it. Okay, and so here's what we're going to start doing. We're just going to start putting shit in. This is generally how I work. This is one of the most efficient, fastest ways to work, in my opinion, is that you just start blocking in shapes, and then you can go back in and finesse it. If you want, you can take your brush and just kind of refine it a little bit, but we're not going to do that. We're just blocking things in at this stage, because I really just want to be sure that like everything is going to be sort of where I want it to be. You'll also notice I'm not really using the correct colors, which doesn't bother me really. Can we just please? There we go. And the reason for that is I don't care. We're going to come back. We're going to change the colors anyways. So we're going to rename that Mog Leg. Not Mob. Mog Leg. So this is a really good habit to get into if you work professionally with other people, because you are always working on top of each other in each other's files. And if you know somebody's going to go into your file after you, it's common courtesy and just very professional. If you don't have time, which happens a lot, if you don't have time to go in and change your layers and you just like kick it over the fence, that does happen from time to time. And usually when that happens, the person that's sending the file over is like, please don't judge me. I'm also going to rename this and I'm going to call it leg and arm, because I know I'm going to be hurting for layers in a bit. Another option for sort of this, instead of doing the selection, going over and then hitting fill, the other option that I like to use is I'll use like the studio pen, and then you could just drop it into the layer. But you have to be sure that you've closed the shape to do that, because if you don't close the shape, it's just going to go all over the place. And then I also have a shortcut here that you just saw me use, which is this square button. You can see it's turning blue on the left hand side. When you hit that square button and then you do something else, it's kind of like a control or a shift. So in this case, using the pencil is picking up color, and using my finger, it's going to pick a layer for me. So that also allows me to work a bit faster. I think I made that ear a little too big. So that helps me work a little bit faster and be a little bit more efficient in my strokes. Cool. So we've blocked out the Moogle body. We're going to do the Chocobo head, and we're going to name it Chocobo head. I meant body. Sorry. We're going to do Cho body. You know why I'm not labeling it properly? Because ain't nobody got time for that. And we're going to do that and block that in. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that studio pen to clean it up a little bit. And if you want, you can put smoothness up pretty high, just so that you have really nice clean lines. Another option, if I was going for like really pristine geometry, there's a feature in Procreate where if you draw a straight line and you hold, it'll automatically straighten the line for you. It'll also do the same thing for curves, as you can see there. And then I think that's it. You could also scale it. So just FYI, like that's also option for you. I think for the neck, I'm just going to keep that part of this layer. And then I'm going to create a head layer. And you'll notice, like, again, like I'm kind of using the same colors or like color language. So for like the Chocobo, I'm using like predominantly like these yellows, just so that I can keep track of what the hell's going on. If I was building this for animation, I would definitely have a lot more layers going on here. But I'm not, so I can't be bothered. This is also a trick that I like to use a lot. Probably I abuse the hell out of it. Is that I'll build out a shape and then I'll cut into it with my lasso tool. Like that. So that's how you're able to get some really nice geometry as well. You can also just erase. Totally an option as well for you too. And then we're gonna give them, yeah, see, I feel like when I try to do like this shark's tooth situation, I can never do it beautifully enough. But if I go in and I erase this shape, it's so much easier for me. It just feels, I don't know, it's just easier to do that. It's easier to carve into it. I've found. I'm also not super crazy about that. And also, yeah, I think there's too much. And I think I really want these little side pieces to be on a separate layer. So hold on. I'm actually going to do this. And that. And I'm going to clear this. We're going to name it because we still haven't done that yet. We're going to call it Show Head. And then we're going to call this one Cho Feathers. And then call it Cho Feet. Yep, that's what we're going to do. So I think we're going to do this. And then that. And I'm just kind of trying to figure out how I want to do that shape. See, I'm like, I can't decide because on the summon, it's got 4 and this geometry is built out. On the simplified models, there's 3, and it's the same thing for the little headpiece. So I think I'm going to do 3, I'm going to do 3, 3, and then the 2 on top of his head. So we're going to do that, because I feel like I'm noodling too much. I'm going to do that, and then this is going to be 2. We're going to close these shapes off. So that's why we close the shape. Procreate is a computer and is lazy, and it just likes to mess with you. Okay, and then we're going to clean this up just a little bit more. And then I think here, I'm going to do something like this and like that. We'll even make our brush a little bit bigger. And you always want to work with brush sizes that are appropriate for the task at hand. So if you're doing detail work, you're going to use a smaller brush. If you're doing really big stuff, use a big brush. There's no need to be using, and this goes for all sorts of artistic endeavors, not just digital. Like, this is across the board. Like, do not do that to yourself. I think for these I'm going to keep them separate. This. Yeah, I think separate looks better. Sorry, I'm just noodling right now, aren't I? I think I'm really rusty. See, this is kind of why I was like, I really want to get back into drawing, because I haven't done enough self-care for these past few months. It's just ever since the Ukraine crisis, it's just been really hard for me to like function very well. I don't know, I'm just not in the greatest headspace lately. So I do hate that so much. I hate it so much. It looks rabid. I'm telling you, I'm normally not like this. I had a really shitty day too, which doesn't help. I think I'm just gonna stop looking at my references and just do what I think looks good. Maybe I'll just stop talking for a minute just to kind of get in the zone. I think something like that will work. Maybe like that. Again, I'm not really worried about the shape of things, the color of things. What I'm worried about is the shape. That's all I care about right now, is just like getting the shapes down, making sure that I'm happy with it. We're just worried about silhouettes, making sure that stuff reads. That Moogle head needs to have his little bandana behind it, so we're gonna do that. And I was gonna make it like a little wavy boy, but I actually like the idea of it just being all of these like assets. Oh man, I'm still like in work mode, calling it an asset. All of these different facets being blocky, chunky, polygonal. Okay, we're gonna do the tail. I'm gonna call this behind because I know I'm gonna run out of layers, and it's gonna be behind his head, the Mog's head, but it's also gonna be the Chocobo's tail behind. And I think for the tail, we're gonna definitely want to do one of these. Use the lasso tool. and cut into it a bit like that. And then we're going to put this layer behind everything else. All right, we're going to do the Chocobo wing. My iPad is scorching hot. It's hot. Hot as fuck. Okay. Yeah, so the wing... Okay, so the wing on the references... There's 3 different ways I can go about doing this. So the way that the model is for the summon looks like this. Okay? The way that the model is for sort of the like the world map, and I think the game mode is even more restricted, but I think this is also maybe potentially the version that you fight, that you're trying when you're capturing Chocobo. Looks like this. It's just a polygon that looks like that, which I think is quite handsome. I'm kind of leaning towards, so I kind of don't want to take this away. And then there's the reference, which is the concept art, which looks a bit more like this. So it's like a little chonker boy, which is actually incredibly handsome. And it does fit sort of the aesthetic of what I've designed so far. I do love this very much, but I feel like that third option might be the way to go, because I feel like visually it's what I'm looking for. Oops, I did not mean to do that. So we're going to rename this and call it wing. And I'm just going to clean this line work up. And I do want the wing to be on top of the Mog's body parts. Okay, so here, and then I think here this is going to be the same plane, and then this could be running parallel. So I think that's going to be really beautiful. That, and then, oops, do one of these. Okay, and then we're going to erase into this, into that, into this, and that. I don't know, I just think it's just really charming looking. Charming. All right, we're going to do a layer that is legs. And I'm working on my own stuff, so I know what this means to me. Ooh. What? Rename. What? Hello, keyboard. I don't understand what the problem is. Okay, I'm gonna make the legs a dark blue just because I can. And I'm just doing the like feetsies, the little clawberries. So the way that Chocobo's feet work is they have these little like stubbies that come out. So in our bodies, I feel like every time I draw anything that's not human or even human, I just devolve into a lecture on feet and legs. On our bodies, this bone, this is what's called a tarsal bone. And their back broken knee is actually their heel bone here. So when you draw animals like this, you always have to consider that they're like toesies, like the foot part is actually their toesies. This is their tarsals, which is like your long foot bones, and then this joint is their heel bone. I'm not going to explain it farther than that because it's already kind of boring. So here, and they have like these 2 front toes that are like this, and then their back toe is a bit like that. And the front ones are a little bit longer. the front ones are a little bit shorter. The back one, that third one, is a little bit longer. So, yeah. And then that's that back one. Cool, cool, cool. And then we're just gonna drop all of that in like so. Am I having an aneurysm? Is that right? Man, I've had, like, seriously, like, one of the longest days today. It's just been a brutal fucking day. I'm pretty sure that's right. Also, I think I made these back ones a little too long, and I also made the front ones a little too long, so we're gonna pare down a little bit. Like that. Ta-da! Right? I know it looks like chaos and garbage. It's fine, I promise. So next is we're gonna call this layer Chocobo. Why won't it? I don't want it in English. Or I just want, why can't I, please? Where's my keyboard? Hello? Thank you. This is gonna be, hams. I'm gonna call it hams. It's a French thing. It's like the meat part of, like, the chocobo. It's gonna make sense in a second, I promise. And they're kind of ham-shaped. It's these things, right? So I was just talking about sort of the anatomy of birds and humans and whatnot. So now I kind of have to make some decisions. Which leg is going to be the forward leg? I feel like... Hold on. I hadn't considered this, and now I'm regretting everything. We're going to make this layer, and so we're going to do that. Okay, we're going to do this sort of shape. So this part of legs for birds and chickens, if this is the heel, this is your lower leg. So their knee is around here. I'm not going to explain it further than that right now because I just don't have the energy. But that's how anatomy works. Deal with it. We're going to do the same thing for this side. And sing the Chocobo song for a second. Looking at references. Okay, so the reference actually has it more like a diamond shape. But I don't care. It's fine. I like it as is. I think I might scooch this one up just a little bit more and turn it like that. And then this lower one, we're going to rotate it down. Do you hear that? It's my husband messaging me. Oh my God, what is it? Hi, I am streaming. What's up? What do you want, James? Yes, thank you. Beef kebab for me for dinner. Okay. Any drinks? Surprise me. Gotta name this layer. Ham's back. And then I think for the talons, we're going to create a new layer for that. And we're going to call that one talons. And we're going to make it dark brown. So for the talons, the way that it looks in the game is a little different. So I'm just kind of going with a shape that feels appropriate, but somebody who doesn't actually look at the reference will not catch it. So it's this sort of shape. it also is going to drive sort of this visual language of these claws that are being picked up. It just accentuates sort of that form a little bit more. So illustration is always a navigation between what is actually there and what you think is there. That's why it's so important to look at references, have references, but at the end of the day, you have to make decisions that propel a story or an emotion forward. And so that's why you can't just plug something into an app and call it a day. I mean, that's really fun and great, and it's cool that we have those sorts of tools. And there's a value to having the ability to directly transcribe what somebody looks like in real life into an illustration. There's there's an implication there, right? So having access to an illustrator that can give you that level of detail is automatically going to be indicative of your socioeconomic status. So the fact that you can afford to pay $200, $300, $400 for a really beautiful, good rendering that was handmade by somebody, that says a lot about you right off the bat that you own something like that versus maybe a doodle or an illustration or sketch. And then it comes down to the type of illustration and the rendering and the execution, right? So being able to make these executive decisions in your design is what brings value to your illustration and to the work that you do. So it's always really important to have those things in the back of your mind of sort of where's that line for you. Okay, what I really need is a reference of the way that the eyes are drawn. Let's see. I'm looking at, okay, Moogle Original, perfect. And then we're going to also do that for this. You guys can't see my screen, I realize. I'm just looking for references, like the original illustration. Okay, so the way that it's originally drawn is like this, the IB ball. So there's an insinuation, sort of the nose. There's this insinuation of this shape, this volume, this cheekbone being here. And that's causing sort of that little under the lower line of the eyeball to come up. And then this is actually, hold on. That's the center line. This is a bit more stronger of a slope. This has a corner like this. And then, here we go. So that's sort of what the original, and there's like the little nosy line there. So that's sort of roughly what it looks like in the reference of the like original art. And then this is actually not there. And this line will actually come up farther like this. So it's a bit more like that. So that's closer to like what I'm actually seeing that was done as like concept art for the game 2 decades ago. That is not what we're drawing. But I do want to see what it looks like because I do like the information that we have here. Ooh, what is this? I just found a high-res image of both concept art and also the model. Yeah, so the model does not look like this. I'm going to, since I already have this open, I'm going to name it I. Why does it give me the option to have my keyboard sometimes and then it doesn't at other times? Absolutely maddening. Okay, so the way that the model looks, similar but different. So the model still has that curve there. And this nose comes down a bit more. But the IB ball, far more polygonal. And I love video games of this era because it's such a like distinctive look when you only have so much visual information that you could slot in before you crash or overwhelm or overload. Yeah, that's the highlight. Before you crash or overwhelm or overload the system. So that's a bit like what the model has. But because he's a summon, I kind of want to give him an angry eyeball. Something like that. And then I'm actually gonna distort this a little bit. Take off snapping. And we're gonna go to freeform just so that we can grab one of these corners and just shift this a little bit. Okay. I'm gonna duplicate this. I'm telling you, I've had such a terrible long day. I can't really function right now. Okay, so we're going to do two things. One is the Chocobo head. We're going to go in really quick and adjust to the sketch that we are looking at right now. Because this is a pretty distinctive shape. It's kind of like Mickey Mouse's ears. Like, so there's certain things in a character design that you have to like really look at and be like, okay, I'm committing to this. And then we're going to go into the eyeball. We're going to go into the eyeball layer. I'm going to choose this off-white. This is not white. It is like a cream. You can see at the top. It's an off-white. We're going to block out that shape. Actually, I'm just going to do a straight line like that. What? Thank you. And then I think I'm actually going to cut that line just a little bit farther down. Do this. Okay. And then, so that I can retain this information, I'm going to use the correct pencil. Bring this down 12%. I don't think I want to go that far just yet. Okay. And then for the Chocobo head, I just turned off a sketch layer that I did not mean to do. For the Chocobo head, we're going to create a clipping mask. Clipping masks are amazing. You have to use it all of the time. It's going to make your life so much easier. You basically can put in a bunch of information into a layer. So it looks like it's just the beak, but in actuality, this layer contains much more information than that. You can see it's actually outside of that line. So what you do when you have a clipping mask is you say, everything that I put clipped into this pencil that you see, I want that information to only show where the pencil is. So if I put a layer that's this big on top of that pencil, but it's clipped into the pencil, then it's only going to show along wherever there's alpha information in that pencil. So if I do a clipping mask and then I go into the Chocobo head and maybe I make the beak a little bit bigger, like that, it'll carry that information over. Right. So we have all of the main things. I don't know why I'm wearing this because I don't have music on and I'm sweating. We have all of the main things in our composition now. So the next step is to amend all of the colors. Oh, I lied. We have one more layer that we need to put in. The background, the bottom, the thing. Ground plane. We need to put the ground plane in. So typically whenever I know I'm going to be doing really long lines, I don't like doing my lines this way. I just find that I'm much more efficient in drawing long lines this way. If I'm doing short lines, I'll do them this way. But if I know, like, I want, like, a nice long line like this, for me, I find it's much easier to turn my canvas to do that. Which is why you see my canvas on the side like that. And then I can go in and kind of amend it by turning it at a 45-degree angle, which makes more sense for how my arm is. Because if I'm trying to draw a line straight across, I got boobs. And for men, you got pecs. Like, your shit's going to get in the way. Your chest is going to get in the way. So doing short lines horizontally is much easier if your drawing is to the right of you and you go like this. But that's usually not the case, right? You're usually at an angle like this. So actually it's very easy for me to do 45-degree lines that are very long. That was my eraser. But it's much easier for me to do this line, and this line is okay, but it's easier for me to just bring my arm down, but that requires me to move my entire canvas over to the side of me. So now instead of having my iPad in front of me, my iPad is here, so that all I need to do is bring my arm down and it creates a straight line. Doing a horizontal line I absolutely can do, but I have to overcompensate. So I have to move, now my iPad is over here, so that I'm moving from here to here. So I'm moving from pretty much where my boob is, or my shoulder, out to do that horizontal line. So having an understanding of your own physiology is going to make it so much easier to draw. And this is obviously going to apply to people that are left-handed. You're not going to want to draw horizontal lines from shoulder to shoulder. You want to draw from shoulder out, shoulder to the elbow, shoulder over, shoulder down, right? So when you're doing straight lines, if they're small straight lines, pretty easy to do. But if you're doing really big ones, that's more than like 4 inches, 6 inches, you're going to want to go out from your shoulder, not in, never in. You always want to go out, and you want to go down so that your elbow is coming straight down. So the only movement that you have, it's not in the wrist, it's just in your shoulder. You're going straight down. I said what I said. So, cool. We have the ground plane in. Now we got to actually make it. What the fuck is this? Delete. Now that we've done all of that, we're going to fix all of the colors, and we're going to scoot this ground plane. So we have something that's called tangenting. Oops. That's not right. I don't want that on this layer. Hold on. Hold that thought in your soul. Clear. I do not want this here. I want this at the very bottom. And I'm going to call it ground plane. Why? I just want the keyboard ground. And I'm going to scoot it down just like a little bit. Like, because I want the foot to feel like it's about to scrape the floor, but I don't want it to the point to where it looks like the toes are hitting the floor, if that makes any sense. So it's really important to have like some sort of awareness around tangenting in those sorts of areas. While I'm here, I'm going to put that back on uniform. Oh, fucking K. We're gonna get rid of that layer in a second. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna do alpha lock, and I'm going to pop in the color of the blue for the chocobo eye. That's roughly that shape. And then I'm gonna get rid of that sketch layer because I do not need it. Now I'm gonna do something that's gonna take a minute, which is kind of annoying, but I'm gonna alpha lock the bejesus out of everything I have here. Imagine if every single video I did, I'm gonna call this one Beak, sorry, of Final Fantasy VII, every single one of them, I sing just the Chocobo song. Alpha lock. It would annoy the crap out of me. Hams. Body. Body. Hams. Talons. Legs, behind, and ground. 10 of 10 would do again. Okay, so this part is kind of a fun part. You're just going to drag and drop colors. I already have a pre-made palette. We're not going to go over how I make palettes typically. It's not why we're here. I can go over that in another stream. So I'm just going to grab this yellow color, and I'm going to do fill layer for practically everything. For the chocobo in that color, I don't really care. Alpha lock. I don't really care that Chocomog's little banner thing in the background is gonna be yellow. Does not bother me. We can amend that later. And then I need this sort of light pink color for the Chocomog, for the Mog, the Moogle. I have like 20 years of like mental barrier Moogles are actually kind of off-white. But we're working on white, so we're just going to stick with the pink. We're going to amend that in a second, so don't worry. We're just... Trust the process. I forgot to do the wing. The wing I'm actually going to do in a different orange because I want to be able to see it. And I'm going to do the same thing for Ham's back. And honestly, this is already a really handsome color solution, just having it have that two-tonal yellow. And then the head... where's the head? And then the beak. Alright. The beak is like... Again, in the reference, it's one thing. We're just going to use the two-tonal colors for now. And then his little legsies are going to be like a dark brown. What's kind of fun about this method is by keeping everything on their own different layers, I can go in and make this a gold chocobo, a green chocobo, a blue, a black chocobo. It's much, much easier to change things using this system. Having everything on different layers, you can just have more flexibility in what you do. So just some thoughts. When you do Chocomog materia, you do actually have two different types of summons that happen. There's the fat Chocobo, who has orange toesies and an orange beak, and then you have Chocomog, which has this like off yellow beak and then brown toesies. And then the like world map Chocobo has a completely different like setup from both, just in terms of polygonally, but it's mostly brown feet and this off yellow thing. So it's just like, again, we're just gonna use our best judgment making decisions here. I think we're just gonna keep it as is, and if I hate it and I need to change it later, then I can, but for now we're just leaving it as is. And I think for the ground plane, for me, I would like to have the ground plane be green, since you typically do see Chocobo in grasslands. That just makes the most amount of sense to me. Right. So next step is we have Mog face. We are not going to change the blending mode. We are going to name it. I don't understand why. M face. As we go, this happens all the time. I get laser and laser about my layer naming. That's totally normal too. Don't sweat it. All right, Studio Pen. So the Mog, the Moogle, he's got options. So typically in like canon, he's got these like little black beady eyes. But in the summon and the art, he's got very different looking eyes. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow sort of canon here. Let's see. I'm just thinking if that's kind of the center of his face and this is going to be his nosy, it's probably going to be where his mouth is here. So his eyes are going to be like that. So I'm just going to erase this because I actually don't care that all of that's there. Oops. Okay, I'm going to keep that marker there because I want to know where the center for the headband is going to be. And then for his eyes, they're like the Pokemon eyes. They look like that almost. But he's also like doing one of these. So now it's going to be kind of a struggle to figure out what I want to do. But I think to keep in the spirit of sort of the aesthetic, we're going to do sort of that shape. And he's like, I know where you live. Kind of vibes. And we're going to get rid of the nosy. Like that. And I want the eraser. Okay. I almost want to give him like bigger eyes. Like that. All right. We're going to do a little nosy. Rename. Please just give me the keyboard. And we're going to use the color that I'm going to need, which is like this darker red. And I think we agreed that the nose is going to be something like that. And I'm just going to look. I have a couple of references up over here. Moogles look differently across the canon. In Final Fantasy VII Remake, the Moogle looks a bit more, like has this more of a nose, but then it also looks very different. Like the design of it is completely different, including the chocobo and the body. So I think I'm just going to stick to what they have in the original. That's what we're doing. We're sticking with the original vibes, the polygonal vibes. So don't come for me for how I'm drawing his nose. I'm just following the goddamn polygonal version, and I know that it looks different from Moogie, and everything is garbage, and I hate everything. So that's that. Okay, we're going to do another clipping mask situation. We're going to call this one Headband. You know, I was having a really terrible day, and I was like, I'm just doing the test live stream. Fuck it. We're doing the test. I don't care that I'm having a bad day. I just want to not be stuck with my own thoughts at home, and I'm actually really glad I did it. My husband was really afraid to leave the house because he knows when I'm in these mental spaces, I'm actually suffering pretty bad to even have to say anything. But I'm happy that I'm here, and I'm happy that you guys are with me, because I feel like, you know, doing stuff, I'm vibing, I'm feeling productive, but not in a way that's like pressure to be productive. It's just kind of like I'm doing my own form of mental health therapy right now, which is great. So go me. Why did I make that color cream? Dude, I am hungry. I can hear my stomach, and it's like, bitch, when is dinner? And I'm like, never eating. Never gonna fucking eat. Alright, I'm gonna alpha lock this, and I'm gonna use that dark brown color that I used for the feetsies here. And then for the headband, I'm gonna alpha lock that as well, and I'm gonna make that color this. And then I'm gonna move this headband that I have on the behind down a little bit. Like, I kind of want it stacked. Actually, I'm going to move it up. I lied. Sorry. And then I'm going to drop that color, which you cannot see, but it's fine. It's fine. Coming back for it. Okay, so I feel like most of my stuff is blocked in. And now we look at it. And we're going to take off our drawing guide because we've blocked everything out. The drawing guide at this point is no longer necessary. Now what I'm looking at is just how do I make it look better? And I think that there's going to be a couple of things that we have to do, and it's so cute. Yay! I know James has food waiting for me, and it's like he's bringing food home, but I'm very close. Like, he bought me sunflowers, and I'm like, donut. What's that one movie where like somebody eats a dandelion? It's an animated 3D animated film, and one of the characters just like full like dandelion mouth. It's like a cute little small cute pig thing. I don't know. All right. So I don't like this tangent that's happening here. I know it's kind of hard to see, but it's right here. This tangent. No! Bad. So we're going to scoot all of this up a little bit. So again, this is why we do stuff in stages like this. Because we want to be sure that like our silhouettes are pretty tight before we start adding more information in. You dig? So it feels like we're in a pretty good place. So now we do kind of an annoying pass, but it's totally worth it. I have to turn off all of my alpha locks just to turn them back on later, but it's totally fine. I feel like it's well worth it if it means that I guess I could do this as I go through, but I'd rather just do it all in one pass so that I could very easily select between everything. I find it easier to do this, and then I can go back in and relock it when I have to go back in and change stuff. Okay. So I have a very distinctive style, which is this sort of vintage, old man, mid-century. You forgot, LOL. Yeah. I know, like, you're gonna see it in, like, 20 years and be like, that's what she was talking about. And be like, yes, the dandelion moment. All right. We're gonna go in, and I have a really distinctive style, as I was saying. That's, like, this really specific texture that I have. And all I'm going to do is just, like, select everything. Oops. And give it that shape. And then it's also, like, I'm kind of cleaning up some of the line work. Right? I've got some little areas around here that are not quite as smooth as I want them to be. I also kind of want his little chubby tummy to be sticking out a little bit here. And I don't know, do Moogles have tails? When's the last time you saw the butt crack of a Moogle? He's also supposed to have wings and like a little pom-pom, but this one doesn't. Again, don't come for me. Don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it. What's interesting? Oh, no, he's got wings. I just didn't put them in yet. All right, well, fucking... That is not the right layer. We'll have to go back in and put wings in. But he has, it looks like he's got like a little butt plug hanging out there. I think it's just a single tail. So we're going to consolidate this into a single butt plug. That's actually not even the right layer. This is all the Mog head. Whoops. That's fine. We're just going to consolidate those anyways. It's really not the end of the world. The way that we're going to do that I lied. We're not going to do that. We're just going to delete all the work that we had down here. It really wasn't even that much. We're just going to finish doing the Moogle head. See, this is why I typically work in a way where, like, all of my layers are different colors. And I, like, am rusty. So now I'm just making stupid choices that don't make sense. Bring that over. Okay, we're going to go into... We're going to turn that layer off. Turn this layer off, God damn it. Alright, I definitely want to ground this little spot. Maybe we'll give him like a little nub of a finger. And then definitely want sort of his chub peeking over. I know I have a leg that's going to pass through there. Okay, so we're going to put the butt plug back in. And then I think that's neck. So that's fine. And we're going to turn that off, and we're going to do the arm and the leg. My iPad is literally hot to the touch. Like, I'm a little concerned almost. All right. It's like I spent $600 on this. No, like $400. It's like I spent all this money on this iPad just for me to abuse it all these years and have to buy a new one after 5 years. Unacceptable. God, I can't believe I've had my iPad for that long. I think I actually am due for an upgrade. I would really love a new iPad. Like a Pro. Not so much because I want a bigger one. The Pros just have more storage space. So even a small one, just for reference, this is how big my iPad is. You can see the front of it. I like having a small iPad. Putting it into my purse, putting it into my backpack is so easy. I feel like I'm less of a risk of somebody stealing it because it's not a Pro. It's pretty powerful as is, so I don't feel the need, like, oh, I really need to upgrade. It's just I want more storage space, and the Pros can take a little bit more, like, processing power. So, like, if you're dealing with, like, 100 layers, it'll deal with it much better. I think maybe when I grow up, maybe I'll buy one for myself. Buy myself an upgrade. And I have the same problem with my Apple Watch. My Apple Watch does not it does not want to update anymore. And I was an early adopter of the Apple Watch. So I have like a first or second gen Apple Watch too. Maybe I have the second gen. Doesn't matter. The point is that like I can't upgrade it anymore, and it keeps asking me to upgrade, and I'm like, I don't know what you want from me. Because I can't. I want to. I want to upgrade or update it, but you won't let me, so I don't know what you want me to do anymore. And I love my Apple Watch so much. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, I wonder, like, should I just... A new iPad would probably be better for stability. Absolutely. Like, in terms of, like, my life needs, my Apple Watch does not need updating. My iPad, for work, I need a new iPad. So maybe that's something, you know, taxes and stuff, like, maybe we can, make it a work expense as well for my taxes. I don't know. So it's an option that's available for me. It's just really, with everything that's happening, like between sort of my car just got totaled, so now we have to find a new car. My dad's going through retirement. I like don't know how to help him with that, and it's just like there's all of this stuff that's happening right now, and I'm like under the water. Like I'm making so much more money than I ever was, and yet I'm like I have no way to save for retirement. My student loans are killing me. It's just like, I don't understand. And maybe I'm preaching to the choir, but I don't understand how people can afford anything anymore. Like, I don't, like, my peers, my friends, coworkers, people that have jobs, I'm like, how? Like, do you have jobs? And then you have kids? How do you have kids? Like, you have a car? You got 3 cars? Like, how do you have cars? Like, I don't understand. Like, the fact that you're even able to commute to work anymore is just, like, such a privilege. Like, it just feels... I'm probably preaching to the choir, right? Like, I'm sure I have it so much better than 90% of people in this country. How do people have time? Time! How do people have time? Like, I don't understand. Oh, yeah. So, this is a thing that I've enabled for my channel. I don't know if it's going to work. But if you type in exclamation stickers, it'll teach you about how to spam me with stickers. I haven't seen anyone use it or try it. I don't know if you're feeling brave. But, I think it does stickers, and then it'll also, the stream stickers extension can be found by either hovering over the live view or looking for the heart icon on the right hand side or beneath the panel view. Okay, heart icon. I don't see a heart icon. Hovering. We're hovering. Hovering over the live view and looking for the heart icon on the right side or underneath the live view within a panel. Is there a panel? I don't see a panel. Let's see. Theater mode, clip, picture-in-picture, settings. Can't find it either. Yeah. Hold on. Advanced. Hold on. Do I need to add it as a panel? Maybe I could add panels. That extension. Okay. Extension manager. Stream stickers. Activate. Set as panel 2. Authorize. Done. Channel. Let's see. I definitely don't have that. Ooh, yeah, if you click on panels, there's a panel button, and you can pick part. Hello. It works. Hooray. So I think all of them are free right now. And that's cool. I'm gonna have to problem solve all this later. When is this sticker gonna go away? Make it go away. Oh, this is gonna be a problem. This is gonna be like a for real. Okay, it's gone. Oh man, you could fuck up. Hold on. Okay, so there's. Oh man, these are gonna be. If a bunch of people spam me, these are gonna be such a problem. I love it. It's fine. Ship it. The chicken. Oh, it's the chicken for me. That's funny. Oh, I wonder why the heart isn't there. Maybe I have to enable it. I don't know what's going on with that. Or maybe the heart is for people on mobile? I don't really know. What was I talking about? Oh, I was talking about how I don't understand how people can even function anymore. And I feel like I'm definitely preaching to the choir, like, because I really do think I have a very privileged life. I have a very successful career, knock on wood. I own my house. Like, I have a great deal of things to be grateful for. Absolutely. And I could definitely afford children in a way that I think a lot of my peers certainly can't. I could afford to live in a house. Like, I have a mortgage. You know, like, my dad's trying to find a new car, and, like, he cannot find a car. These are all things of privilege that I have accessible to me that I think a lot of people don't. So I'm super fucking well aware of it. And even still, like, I'm just amazed. My friends that have kids, I'm like, how do you have kids? How do you have kids? Why do you have kids? Like, when do you have kids? Like, all of the questions I have. So you'll notice I'm just kind of going through. People are messaging me on my phone, and I don't have time for this. I do not have time for yo. I've watched that show so many times. So many times. I just love it. I love her. And I just feel like Anna Delvey is just like the cry of a generation. Like, all of us are just like hustling, trying to figure out what the F to do. Like, I just, like, and you have to. You have to at this point. Like, you have to hustle, and it's almost like to the point to where it's like, just like everybody my age back. I can't find the heart. Instead of the heart, refresh the window and scroll down to my panels. Because I enabled it. So if you refresh the window and you scroll down to panels, below my description, there's buttons. The chicken. It's the chicken for me. The chicken is amazing. I love it. I really just want to. I'm just gonna be peeking between windows. You found it! Somebody dropped a heart. The heart worked. Yeah, you did. Pachi, 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 pachi. For you, Tokyo Drift. Enjoy. Oh, I wonder if I'll get copyright. Okay, we're gonna turn it off. I don't want to get copyright. I think you can use up to like 30 seconds, right? Of music before you get copywritten. Or something. I don't know how the bots work anymore. I really just want to, like, learn how to write music just so that I can make music for my own channel. I feel like that's just... Dag, you absolutely should be doing that for yours. You should just be, like... You should create. You should design, manufacture, like, a synth... What is this layer? Like, a synth generator, and you just... have that be your music for your stream. That's assuming you haven't done that already, and knowing you, you probably have. This is kind of like the like cathartic, boring part. Just kind of going through and like doing the legwork of this bullshit. It's worth it because, like, I saved a lot of time in the, like, problem solving process. Oh, I did do this part. Of, like, all of my other design bits. So now I could just kind of mindlessly move through this, which is really nice. Like, if you're having kind of a crummy day like me, you can kind of just, like, not think about anything. I need to create a MIDI cable. Oh, get a MIDI cable to connect to my keyboard. Hell yeah. I was driving down my street the other day, Doug, and somebody had, like, put out... I'm going to call it a Yamaha because I actually don't know what it was. But somebody had put out, like, a Casio and, like, a mini Yamaha or, like, something. Like, one of those, like, keyboards that you get. I'm doing an Etch-a-Sketch stream tomorrow night. Ooh, I gotta see it! I feel like every time you stream, there's something going on in my life and I can't watch. But I think what I'm going to do tomorrow... Tomorrow's Thursday. I'm going to go to the gym because Dag streams at 8:30 every Thursday night. And he's always, like, doing really cool, like, either presentations, like, on Sundays or, like, on Thursdays, or he's, like, playing something really fun. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the gym. Yeah, 8:30 every Thursday. Okay, I was right. And then on Sundays, it's different. Sundays, his schedule is a little different. But I know for a fact next week is local commercial showcase 4. Okay, if you don't ever want to watch his stream, that's fine. But dag it on Twitch, YouTube, Twitch, because I know this is going to go on my YouTube later. And there's like 80 followers there, by the way. Hello again, YouTube. Dag it on Twitch has the most ridiculous stuff on Twitch. And he does like PowerPoint presentations on commercials. And he's on his 4th one. This man is my best friend for a reason. He's crazy. And I love it. So if you never ever watch any of his streams ever again, go to his channel and just watch one of the commercial PowerPoints. And you will... If you could find the Wet Pets clip, WETPETS. WETPETS. Wet Pets San Pablo. What I love too is that, like, you've cracked the code on entertainment and just lulz, but also, like, you're finding, like, these sound clips that nobody's gonna copyright strike you for, because Wet Pet San Pablo does not exist, and that is not really probably even copywritten. So you could just... Wet Pets! Yes, the emotes. You could probably just use it, and no one's gonna ever come for your wig. It's brilliant, dude. It's absolutely... brilliant. Wet Pet San Pablo. Have you watched any of the Amber Heard trial, Dag? I feel like your only exposure to, like, the chaos and madness is just me sharing TikToks and memes from the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial. And that's it. Last week, 2 weeks ago, the week before they went on hiatus, I was watching pretty regularly every day for, like, a little while. I would just have it in the background when I was doing, like, administrative design tasks, like, I don't know, like, doing my exports or stuff. Because I don't need to watch, I could just listen. You really need to catch up to it. Dude, the judge was like, y'all have 50, 60 hours of testimony and, like, trial time. We're at 33, bitches. Wrap it up. Like, the judge, before they wrapped for their midway break, the judge was like, y'all are fucking around too much. Like, the people at home, like, this is not the O.J. Simpson trial. The people at home, the children have been fed. Like, you guys need... I want to go home. Like, the judge is like, finish the case, fellas. Because when we hit, whatever, like, 55 hours or 60 hours, and that's per team has a certain amount of hours. And so, yeah, all the big streamers are co-streaming it. Like, it's hard to miss it at this point. And people are giving their hot takes, but, like, I just have it running in the background, and just some of the stuff, like, it was just like, Johnny Depp pooped himself, peed himself, Amber Heard pooped herself, peed herself. I'm like, y'all are making millions. Get some diapers. Like, what the I know that we have a formula shortage, but, like, diapers, big pads, overnight pads. Like, why are you shitting yourselves? Like, what? Like, that was too much. And then there's, like, the whole thing with, like, somebody was, like, cross-examining, like, the bodyguard or somebody else. And he's like, oh, so you saw Johnny Depp's dick? And the guy's like, trust me, if I saw, I would remember. Like, just seeing Johnny Depp's nether regions, I would imagine. Seeing the Kraken is a very memorable moment. And so he's like, I don't understand why you're asking me in 7 different ways why we're doing the objection, hearsay, song, and dance about this man's dingling, but, like, I would have remembered, and I would have tweeted about it. Like, it's, like, and then, like, Amber Heard being like, and then my dog stepped on a bee, and then that turning into a whole meme. It's just been too much. It's been in, like, the best way, but also, like, I remember being a kid when O.J. Simpson was happening, and, like, I remember the adults following the case, and, like, of course, like, Rodney King and Michael Jackson, like, those were really big cases when we were kids. What else? The baby shaker lady, and those were all very serious criminal cases, right? Like, these are very serious allegations against some very, like, surprising people. And then you have this Johnny Depp case that's just literally a fucking clown show. Like, what are we even living through right now? I hate the whole men's rights people trying to claim Team Depp. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to put my foot in my mouth and, like, say anything that I regret, and, like, have it recorded for all posterity on Twitch and YouTube. But this case is truly bringing out the worst in a lot of people in so many ways. And it's like, I'm a really big believer in believing victims. And, you know, just this whole thing is turning into, like, a complete and total fiasco. I feel like everybody's losing sight of, like, what really matters in our day-to-day and, like, what really matters in the grand scheme of, like, society. And ultimately, it's like we need to believe victims. And in this case, in this trial, it seems like both of them have made some really awful choices and continue to be making awful choices, and that's pretty much as I want to, like, get into. But, like, it's very clear, like, you know, Johnny Depp's history, like, his parents being, you know, divorced at a young age, and I think they were talking about, like, he was abandoned as a kid, or his mom was an alcoholic, and then she was very sick, and, like, you know, those sorts of things coming from, like, a pretty unhealthy childhood, a pretty abusive childhood, actually. I can understand why Johnny Depp relied on drugs. I don't condone it. I don't think it's okay to have an alcohol problem, but I can understand why, and I can be sympathetic why somebody would turn to those things. Now, you're making multi-millions. You could afford therapy. All of them. All of these people need therapy. They might need Jesus. No, they don't need Jesus. They need therapy. So yeah, that's just my, like, 7 cents on a topic that really, like, at the end of the day, like, who am I even to judge or make commentary on these people and their lives? Like, I really don't even know if, like, it's at all appropriate to even be televising it. And then there's, like, all these factions and groups of people that are, like, joining themselves to this whole thing, and then, like, you see, and, like, pop off, like, streamers are, like, trying to monetize off of, you know, this trial, so people are streaming, and it's just, like, it's just all around, it's a hot mess. It's just a hot fucking mess, man. Hot mess. This normally doesn't take me 2 hours. But we're coming to the finish line, finally. feel like because I'm streaming, this usually doesn't take this long. Okay, so I'm in a pickle. It's really hard to see what's written on the Mughals' forehead. Oh! The Mog wears hachimaki with kanji inscription that spells out the Japanese name of the attack, making it the only summon in the series that is labeled in more than one place during its animation. Okay. Damn, it says all of that? It says all of... I'm looking at it right now, and I'm like, girl, we are not doing all of that. Hojo, Zac Fair, Red 13. Go away. Big Bro, Chocobo Bill, dialogue speakers. Okay, hold on. I need to find this. Menu. Oh God. This is a really, really long Wikipedia article. Commands, magic, summons. Okay. Death blow. We got it. We got it, fam. Ladies and gentlemen, her. Now I gotta make this thing... My keyboard is hiding. I gotta make this thing really big so that I can see it. Oh, Jesus Christ. I made it too big, fam. You can't see, but I think I made it like 300 or 400. Cannot. Choco. Chocobo Hermit, Chocobo Sage, Chocobo Farm, Sky Chocobo, Chocobo Hut, Square, Fat Chocobo. Okay, here we go. Okay. The Romanji is Hisatsuwaza. That's what's written on here. I love the internet. I love it. It's like you could find just about anything. It's one of the best and most dangerous things about the internet. All right, we're going to do one of these and we're going to do, okay, so we're going to do the center kanji first. So, oh, Jesus Christ. That looks like key. And then that's like a 9. I don't know my kanji very well, but I know enough that I could do this sort of stuff. Okay. I think that goes like that. And then this is like a foo. But I just don't know the order. I'm assuming the order of operations is this. Damn. Hair flip. Hair flip. Hair flip. We did it, fam. Ladies and gentlemen, her. Okay, so now this is like the easy fun stuff, which is so nice. I think what I want to do here is just put the little, the Angie eyes. I think the Angie eyes look like that. We gotta go back in and do an alpha lock on everything, so give me a second to do all of that. And I know that this is like kind of annoying, and if we were on Photoshop, this would be so much easier to do. Alpha lock, alpha lock, alpha lock, alpha lock. We're almost there. We're almost there. We're nearly there. Alpha lock. Oops, not a clipping mask. Alpha lock. Oh, angels coming down from heaven. Okay, so we're going to start here. We're going to grab this color. I have this watery brush that I use a lot. We're going to pop that into its butthole. Do the same thing with the hams. Kind of put it towards the heel. The Chocobo body, this lower half, is going to have that. The, where are the other hams? These hams. Hello. I'm still streaming.
Okay.
I just don't want you to wander out.
Are you on Nico Nico?
I'm not on Nico Nico. I am on Twitch.
Okay.
And then the head. Where is it? I think the feathers we're gonna put behind the head. Like so.
NANI?!
Oh! Nani?
Mm.
The chocobo head we're gonna do... Nope, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna do that to the neck. Like that. And then for the Moogle, in the center of it, in the center of the volume, we're gonna add a little bit of lightness. Same thing with the body. I don't know if I want to do that for the hand. Yeah, that's fine. And then for his little feetsies, we can have that volume pop off a little bit more. So you can see, like, you do all this work so that you could have a little bit more flexibility as you get farther and farther into your composition. Why is this not alpha locked? So now there's so much more malleability here. I'm going to go into the legs. I think for the legs, we're going to give it a little bit more of that color because I think that that's really beautiful. And then for the little talons, kind of a little bit of this gray. And the reason why I want to introduce some of that gray in is because I want that gray to be used here to give this some definition. That, and then we're going to do the same thing for that headband to give the illusion of sort of this shape being wrapped around. Like that. Maybe not so violently. There we go. Comme ça. The alpha lock is causing so much trouble. This is literally... People don't realize some of the most frustrating and most difficult things of being a designer is, like, little things like this. That's just, like, so inconsequential, but, like, break your soul. Alright, so for the ground, we're going to do one of these. We're going to pop a little bit of this color in and a little bit of yellow. And then I have this pencil that I use. TLDR, it's on my Gumroad if you want to look at it. And it's it allows me the ability to kind of mush things around. And it'll give me this really beautiful variation in the color and the texture that I really love. Now, this is one of my favorite parts, is I can go in with color dodge, and I can go in with multiply. So I think for color dodge, I'm going to use this green color. Not here, sorry. Because I feel like it's going to give me this really nice bounce back of the grass here. It's really subtle, super subtle, but pulling the green up from the ground, because that is how our eyes work. I'm not getting into the math of it. I'm not going to go into color theory of it. The way our eyes understand light is light bounces. That is how you get color. So light bounces off of an object that is yellow. It absorbs all of the other wavelengths, and it bounces the yellow wavelength everywhere else, including into your eyeball, which is why you perceive it as yellow. So when you're looking at plant lights, you'll notice that plant lights have blue and red light bulbs. They never have green light bulbs, but plants are green. Why is that? Photosynthesis. They don't absorb green light, therefore it gets bounced back at us because they're not using it. So it's because if they bounced off the green color, they wouldn't photosynthesize, right? Like, they need light. They're maximizing for light. So yeah, the math of ray tracing is crazy. So that's like the super low level budget version of how light and your eyeballs and like 3D rendering and all that stuff works. So the way to make your illustrations look and feel believable is through the understanding of this sort of stuff. And also I find that using this sort of methodology elevates your work in a way that it's really subtle, but that the human eye picks up on it and people appreciate it, clients appreciate it. So yeah, that's why we do these sorts of things. I know already what my background is going to be. The background of this is going to be blue, so to introduce a little bit more blue around into the composition as well, we're going to use blue for the color dodge up here, for the top of these talons, maybe to kind of break up some of this space here, probably there as well, the back of his heel. I want it in the highlight of his nose. Maybe to break up this shape. I don't know. That's going to blow out. So now I'm going to go in with my multiply. And I think the color that I want to use for multiply is going to be this sort of tan color. And I'm going to go in. And you'll notice I haven't used pure black. Choco spoon, Choco spoon. That's me. I'm a Choco spoon. Little baby Choco spoon. Choco spoon. Do I have? Yeah. Forgot that I had that. I really should put the chocobo sound on here. You'll notice I didn't put any black in my composition. The reason why I don't work with pure black is I find that putting pure black into a composition sucks the bejesus out of it, especially when you're designing for mobile, you're designing for TV. You want to avoid it as much as possible. I'm trying to decide if this is what I want to do or if I want to use an orange. I do want to use an orange for this part. So yeah, if I'm designing for mobile or anything, I always use, you know what, I want to have a little bit of variation in this beak. Sorry, I'm a little distracted. I'm going to pull this orange that's coming out of this and put it sort of in the tip just to make it a little bit more dynamic. You always want to use an off black, like 98% black, and then that like 2% is a color. You never, and even then, like a 2% black is very, very black. You want to go like 95% black and 5% color, just to have like a bit of a blue, a little bit of a brown, a little bit of a purple, a little bit of a green. It always elevates your work. And then if you're doing multiply passes and you get a little bit of black that comes as a result of the multiply pass, then that's totally fine and that makes sense. So that's kind of my really low level sort of, sir? That was not what I wanted. Lecture on why I don't use 100% black on pretty much everything that I work on, with exceptions. There's always going to be exceptions to the rule, but generally speaking, that's how I work. I want all of these to kind of point like that. I don't know why I thought, hold on, where's the body? I don't know why I thought that this was gonna be covered. Let's go back to alpha locking that. And then go back into multiply. Okay. So for the Moogle, needle, 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 the Needle Dick song, best song ever. So he's got like these little tufts there. So we're just gonna draw those in. I think I'm gonna draw kind of that. I definitely do want to create sort of his jawline, and I want to really make sure that that looks like that's making sense, and then maybe a little tuft of his little booty hairs, and then I still feel like this really needs to be separated out, so we're going to do that and this, and then on the color dodge layer we're going to pull back on that, and then actually we're going to go back into here and just make it clear that this is sort of back there. And we're like done. Like this is ready to go onto a t-shirt. So just to be sure that this is going to read on a t-shirt, I like to design things on white, and then I'll go in and change my background color to black and see if this will read on a black t-shirt. And as you can see, it will not. So all I need to do is go into the legs, and this is just like such a subtle little thing, but this will really help it read. And so on white, it won't be really noticeable that I did this pass, but on black, it does make a difference. So whenever you're designing for a logo, certainly in other media like this, where you know that there's going to be multiple applications of it in different ways, you always want to go in and just double check. Like, is this working on a color? Is this working against black? Like, do I know what colors, brand colors, things like that. So for the most part, this is working. I think our last pass is going to be that background pass. I don't want to overcomplicate it. And so I'm just going to do sort of a wash, if it'll let me. Do a little bit of this. And for my ground plane, since I'm just doing an illustration like that, I'm just going to do that. I'm going to turn my ground plane layer down a bit. And then I'm going to create another layer and do sort of an indication of clouds in the background. And I have to be careful that I don't run my clouds behind the chocobo, behind the Moogle, because of the contrast that I'm trying to accomplish. And I'm just going to take a look at it and be like, do I hate this? And the answer is, yeah, I really do hate it. I might just do kind of a wash in the corners, like that, and then pull it, and then put it behind the ground plane. And then we're going to do one more pass on color dodge. And I kind of had to wait for this step because I had no clue what the background colors were going to be where. I just had a general idea. So now I'm going to go back in and I'm going to add in my color dodge pass to the top of his head, top of his feathers. And I might even decide like, oh, this is using the blue is blowing it out and I don't like that. I can grab this orange and use the yellow, which I think is a lot more handsome. So it doesn't have to necessarily be the background color. Sometimes if it's too high of a contrast, it's actually going to work against you and it will not look good. And it's a chocobo. Chocobo are yellow and orange. Like, it shouldn't be white highlights on a chocobo. It should be yellowy. So, you know, things like that are always something that you need to consider. And I think I want to run a line there. If I make that line too big and too thick, it's just not going to read well. So I just want to kind of do that. And then maybe a couple here. Definitely want a couple up here. And I'm trying to keep it on the tail feathers themselves. And maybe like that booty line. And we're not going to have it here because the Moogle is here. So I don't think it's going to be necessary there. And then maybe just a little bit more of that green through the leg. Maybe even give it a little bit of definition. Maybe put a little bit of blue on this top side. Blue on the top side of this leg. So, yeah. Thank you so much for watching, for being here. I am exhausted. I did it. I think I'm going to try to stream around 6 or 7 o'clock because I do think doing 8 to 10 is going to be really late, especially for people that want to watch on the East Coast. So I'm going to go eat. Thank you so much for being here. Dag, thank you so much for being here. You're amazing. I love you. I hope everyone's doing okay in the time of COVID. I hope you guys have been taking care of each other and yourselves. And yeah, that's it. I love you guys. Bye.